Welcome to Inside the Program, brought to you on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. With me, as always, managing publisher at Inside Texas, Eric Nalin. He's on the scene right now, out and about doing his thing. I'm your host, Justin Wells. Before we get started on team and recruiting info that you guys really need to know, hey, like the video, subscribe to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. Help us get to that 10,000 subscriber mark. We're getting closer and closer, guys, and it's because of you, the fans. Keep helping us out. And then also come hang out with us at InsideTexas.com. We literally have so much stuff going on right now. From team, from recruiting, there's just a ton of goodies at Inside Texas. But right now, let's talk a little bit about recruiting. Usually we open up with team on Inside the Program, but we got some recruiting news I feel like is a little more important. So we're going to tackle both of those. Let's start with recruiting. Eric, defensive tackle recruiting woes continue. Yeah, the Josiah Sharma. The Sharma beat was bad.
Who made this title, man? I'm not down with the woes, dude. I'm not down with the woes. I feel like it's going to work out.
That's exactly kind of, that's why I mentioned Sharma. Took a bad beat for what? About a week? Then it turned around the way it was supposed to. Then DJ Sanders decides to pop his commitment to A&M late a couple of nights ago. Tell me the latest on the vibe there with defensive tackle recruiting, because if it's like Sharma, I think Texas still has some confidence in what they can do with Sanders. They're still talking to Myron Charles, and they're still talking to Zion Williams.
Yeah, I mean, this is a wild cycle that's being personified by defensive tackle recruiting. And it should be personified by that simply because it's the one that's telling us how wild it is. It is wild. But Texas has a very good grasp of what's going on, how the tea leaves are going, why guys are committing when they are, and how they still have a chance to flip them. Trust me that Texas has a good feel for this, a good pulse. I don't like this title. Texas Homer is sitting there behind the curtain like the Wizard of Oz over there writing DT recruiting woes. I got to answer for. Now I don't agree with it, man. I think the guys in charge have a good handle of it. DJ Sanders, I guess it was a bad beat. I guess I don't know.
A bump in the road.
Yeah, a bump in the road. We knew Sharma was going to Texas until he wasn't. Then he went to Oregon, and we're like, all right, that doesn't compute with everything we heard and everything we've reported. And then it turned out the right way. Sometimes there's a spike strip, and we got to change a tire, and then we're back on the road. And I think that might be the case. I swear, even 5 minutes after Myron Charles committed to Florida State, I just laughed, going like, nobody cares about that. That's not, to me, that's not real. I think Texas has a good chance to flip it. I think the defensive tackle class is going to end up in a good spot. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. Again, it's a very topsy-turvy cycle, especially at D tackle. But I know that they have a good pulse for all these recruitments. They know the right people. I think they have the wherewithal and the vigor to get it done. And I think it's going to work out.
And it's Kenny Baker's first, year. And I think he's taking it on the chin quite a bit. But let's give Baker some credit. He has really he's beginning to establish himself a lot with these particular recruits and their parents and the coaches. He's getting the lay of the land. He's figuring it out.
I'm hearing the right things on that. Oh, Will Fong. I'm hearing the right. Hey, Steve, I'm on YouTube. Let me call you back after this, all right? I'm hearing the right things about Kenny Baker as far as how he's relating to recruits and building relationships. And so something I've said a couple times is like he's winning the recruitment. He's not winning the commitment yet. And, you can win the recruitment and be ahead where, with the family, the player can have the best relationship with you. But, hey, man, it's 2024 recruiting. Winning the commitment takes a lot more than just the old handshake and eye contact and relationship. Like it's got to be, NIL is going to play a factor, and NIL can come in a couple different ways. There's still an old way of NIL that's getting things done, and then there's the new way, which tends to get things done when it matters, right? So you get a commitment, or you're going to get the signing. What do you want? Do you want the commitment or the signing? Texas wants the signing. I'm not super worried about how it's going to play out. I think Kenny Baker has. I think he's found his sea legs. I know that there's been I think that he's had a few things to overcome that we'll write about after he gets his class put to bed.
Yeah.
I think he's done a really good job, all things considered. Once he gets the class put to bed, he has a good class signed. I'll be a little bit more vocal about what's all gone on behind the scenes, but he's been a trooper, and I think he's gonna end up with a good class.
You know, you posted a note this morning that really riled up the forum at the InsideTexas.com website. You got to come see us, based solely on the latest on Jonah Williams. Our man is on the scene, Eric. This has been, when people ask me, I say this is the funniest recruitment of the cycle so far. This thing has gone in 3 or 4 different directions at different times. Yeah. I mean, there's so much that people don't understand that's going on behind the scenes. But you're down there on the ground. What is the very latest on the 5-star safety out of Galveston, Ball?
Yeah, the Gulf actually looks nice right now. I'm like, man, should I start shopping for a condo down here? It's trying to trick me. The water, I'm not going to do it. Just good Lord, it took me an hour and a half to check in last night for some reason. Like, good, just be efficient, man. So, Jonah, I've been writing that Texas is in this for a very long time. Back to the spring, and everyone's like, no, they're not. And then
for a while, you were the only one writing Jonah's in this.
Yeah, and then April comes around. No, they're not in it. May, no, they're not in it. June, no. Oh, they got Schloss, maybe. And now people are really starting to take it seriously. I think Texas is in an admirable spot for them. I think baseball does play a big part, but also, one thing I've learned while I was down here is that guy probably likes football a little bit more than we all thought. When you hear about a lefty throwing 94, you think, okay, and his brother went to the majors right there. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to have confirmation bias on the baseball stuff. Right. He's really good at it. He can play anywhere he wants. He's kind of like the natural. But also his brother getting drafted in the second round, a lot of people kind of shift the focus to baseball. But when I talk to people on the ground here, they say he loves football. Like, that guy, like they think he's going to be a physical safety, not just running around looking pretty out there like in center field.
Really?
I think Texas is in a good spot. I'm not going to RPM him or anything like that. I think Texas is in as good a spot as anybody else. It's really hard for me to figure out as much time as I've spent down here, it's hard for me to figure out who the other teams are. You hear about USC, A&M, LSU. I don't know who the main competition is for Texas. I think Texas is in a good spot, but I don't know who the number one their biggest competition is. It's hard for me to figure that one out. I know USC has been very aggressive. A&M had a good relationship. I think losing Schlossnagle hurt them quite a bit. LSU has a really good sort of a 2-sport sell. Obviously baseball and football.
Right.
But Texas has that now, and Texas has Schlossnagle. So. I'm kind of liking where Texas sits. I don't know exactly where he's going to go, but I like where Texas is at right now.
It's almost an example of, with Jonah, it's almost an example of Texas versus the field. I know we use that phrase a lot, but It almost feels like that as we enter August, and we're less than 3 weeks from his decision. But real quick, we got another guy that he's a multi-sport guy. He can do it all. That's Andre the Lawyer. This video is brought to you by that man, Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, you have got to trust the team that has secured millions for their clients, and they have helped thousands of Texans with their injury cases, from car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. If you're in trouble, you have got to give Andre the Lawyer a call at 214-444-8808. Do not let these insurance companies tell you what your claim's worth. Let Andre do that for you. He's the guy, okay? He's a two-way player. He'll play on both sides. He's based out in Dallas, but he'll help all Texans throughout the state. Give Andre the Lawyer a call if you're ever in trouble. 214-444-8808. Now we're going to shift from recruiting to team, because team is still important. Second week, and I think the CJ Baxter stuff's kind of overshadowed the rest of what's been going on within the program this week, which has actually been pretty good. And let's start with D-line is impressing, and I'm glad it doesn't say D-line woes continue.
Yeah.
Because on the team,
it doesn't say edge. It doesn't say edge. It says the whole defensive line. We're going to have to include the edges and the D tackles.
All of them. It's all-encompassing here on this episode of Inside the Program. That's why it's award-winning. But defensive line is improving, and one of the reasons because they have some old guys in that room, not just older guys within the program, Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, They got some old men coming in from, Bill Norton and Jermaine Olay, and those guys.
Yeah.
They're impressing right now for what you're hearing. What is the very latest on that group that's going to be very important as they enter the SEC in year one?
Yeah, I talked to a few different people last night. One guy mentioned the edge, the other guy mentioned defensive tackles. I went back to the other guy, and I hear the defensive tackles look good too. He's like, yeah, the whole D line looks good. So we know the edge is a strength, or at a minimum, it's vastly improved over last year. And again, there's been a lot of consternation about the defensive tackles after losing to 38th pick and number 16 pick. But dude, there's nobody behind the scenes that are worried about defensive tackle. Everybody knows it's not going to be the exact same. They're fine with that. But Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton were two of the first guys mentioned to me yesterday when talking about the most recent practices. Those are your starters, and those guys are. I mean, go back to the high school tape. Maybe you're a little bit surprised because Alfred has had a little bit of an up and down career, and Vernon has not gotten off to the hottest start. He's been on a little bit of a longer curve. But go back to the high school tape. Watch their high school tape and see how ridiculous those two guys look. And that's coming to life this year. It's their contract year, but it's also just it's their time. Everybody matures and reaches their pinnacle at a different time. Those guys are reaching it right now. There's a lot of excitement about the depth at defensive tackle, but people are starting to get excited about the frontline starters too.
And for good reason. Remember, these guys are older. You got some experience on that line, and we saw these guys obviously in the windows for practice. And Bill Norton's a lot bigger than I expected. I didn't realize he was going to be that large.
He's the only one bigger than him, and it's not like bigger in a good way. Is Sadir Mitchell? Yeah, Norton's not really a guy I'd be excited to line up across. And so he's going to occupy blockers. And, what we talked about on a previous show was if those guys just do their job. Now, I think the starters, Alfred and Vernon are going to create some havoc. But if the guys behind them just do their job, occupy the right gaps, there are so many playmakers around them on defense that it's all going to work out.
Absolutely. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. That's always a fun subject. That's going to be one of the fun things about 2024 is having a quarterback coming into his third season. Yeah. And a lot of times coming into your third season, if you want experience at any position on the college football field, I'll take it at quarterback before anywhere else. That tends to show a strong trend line for your team that season. Yeah. It sounds like Ewers is getting a lot more of command of this offense. And we're not saying he hadn't had a good command of this. I think last year proved he was improved.
Here's another title I've got a problem. I would call it improved, not improving. Like it's improved. What is Homer doing behind the scenes over there?
He's keeping us on our toes. That's what our boy Texas Homer does. He keeps us on our toes. And I think Quinn Ewers is keeping this offense on their toes.
Well, he's keeping the defense on their toes. I mean, one thing I really like is, the iron sharpens iron thing is real. The edge pressure is going to be there, and the secondary is better, and it's gonna sharpen Quinn. But the things we're hearing about Quinn right now have nothing to do with his arm talent. Yeah, that used to be like the thing that you'd hear about, especially that first year. Is what we heard about was, you should see a couple of these throws, and all right, that's fine. I saw a lot of throws that went errant. And like it's great. Who cares about arm strength if it's not going to hit the target? What we're hearing about right now is just command of the offense. They had 2-minute drill on Thursday, and he looked really good, like a seasoned veteran. The before the half drills, when they start going fast, and he's basically in control. Sark doesn't have nearly as much input as Ewers does, and that's where he's starting to impress. And so I would say his command has improved. Maybe not improving; it's still improving. I guess it's always a work in progress. If Aaron Rodgers had to take the call tomorrow, and he'd have to improve more too, right? They're never done improving. But I would say for all intents and purposes, he has improved a lot. He's a much better quarterback maturity-wise. He's still the same old physical talent, athletic talent with his arm, but he's just got command of the offense. It's that's the thing we're hearing about more than anything else. We're not hearing about the physical talent. We're hearing about the mental side of it.
And I think that lends to why Sark is so confident, Eric. We've seen him a number of times now over the last couple of months in front of the media. That guy is standing out with his chest out. And that's a former quarterback that's really happy with his current quarterbacks, in my opinion. And so we can't get out of one of these without mentioning Arch Manning for algorithm purposes, Trey Owens for algorithm purposes. But guys,
Hey,
Eric,
Arch was mentioned,
the
dude.
finished product, and
we
we'll
can
win
talk
the
about
Heisman.
Arch because he was actually mentioned when I talked to a source that he was mentioned. So we're not just doing it for the algo, or are we? No, but he was mentioned. They're like they've got after talking about Quinn for a while, they've got two really good quarterbacks, and so they always throw that. I don't think fans are ready for how good Arch is going to be, and how complete of a quarterback he is. But he's going to wait his turn. He's got to wait his turn because Ewers is living up to the expectations, man.
Hey, football is in good shape in Austin. It's in even better shape at InsideTexas.com. You got to come see us. Hey, thank you so much, fans, for making us a part of your day and enjoying this episode. Please like this video and subscribe to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. Help us keep climbing up to that 10,000 mark. And come see us at InsideTexas.com. We really are having the best time. We knew August was going to be fun, but so far it's been even more fun this first week. Lots of stuff to cover. Khalil Lockett jumped in the mix. We're going to have more about recruiting in the recruiter door here in a little while. We're going to have more from Joe Cook and Charlie Williams and Ian Boyd and all the crew at Inside Texas. So please come see us at InsideTexas.com. And thank you for joining us on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by Inside Texas.